Well, believe it or not, this is the Broomielaw. Today, it's a little bit foggy today. Good morning. It's about 10 o'clock. There are peaky bits of blue way up above. I was kind of wondering if the sun was going to peek out, and this is gonna lift in the couple hours that I've been here. But lo and behold, it is a little bit less. I don't know if it's just because it's probably a bit brighter above, but it is a rather foggy day today in Glasgow. So there you go. Hello. Bumped into one of my regulars today, Steve, and he goes, "Oh, good on you being out here." And I said, "Well, in actual fact, and this is the truth, it's quite an extraordinary thing because I've committed myself to, made the commitment to come here every day at sunrise. The weather is not a factor, and it's just something I need to work with. And I think in that way, you know, dancing in this really thick fog is actually quite remarkable. You know, the ground was a little bit slippy today because it hasn't had time to burn off in the sun, and so that was something I had to integrate into my movement. So I was a lot more flat-footed and slow, or contained in a way today, but not in another way. And so that was quite extraordinary. But I loved it. I mean, again, how atmospheric is this? You know, you can't, to create something like this would be very, very difficult indeed. So, and I've never ever seen it like this, at least I can remember, since I've lived here in Scotland for 11 years. So that's pretty miraculous, I think. And last night was it was a full moon, and it was a Cancer full moon. The moon was in Cancer, which is my astrological sign. But that's quite, since the Cancer is ruled by the moon, as it were, if you believe in that kind of thing, that's pretty potent energy as well. So today, what happened yesterday was, I was walking home, bumped into another neighbor of mine, and he said, how bird passion. He said, "So how you doing?" I said, "Oh yeah, good, doing the dance," and explained what I was doing. I said, "Is there anything you want me to dance for?" And he said, "Well, I'm single." And I said, "Okay, well, I'll dance for you in your singleness then." And but it's funny because I was thinking about that word. I get fascinated by words. So this is where Latin gets you. See, it's not a useless subject, because in terms of my expansion of my brain to find out what things really mean, because words are so funny, we take them at face value, and they're so much more rich than that, actually. Take the word single, for example, as I did yesterday, and I was like, what is that? Because it's kind of like, you know, I'm single, and I'll go, single! Unless they've had a horrible marriage or something like this. And it's seen as some sort of flaw or something like this. I thought, oh gosh, I wrote it down, and I went, oh my gosh, the word sin is contained in the word single. Well, no wonder. So somewhere in our consciousness, we're like, it's a sin to be single, of course. And I thought, well, what's this word sin? You know, I'll look that up in the etymology dictionary, as I do lots of words. And interestingly, because of course you think of all the biblical stuff, which actually the repercussions in my brain of this knowledge, that, speaking of knowledge again, of knowing that I've received this morning, are quite phenomenal, and I haven't actually worked my brain around it yet, or my heart, or whatever, but I feel like I'm onto something. Because there are loads of examples in so many languages that begin with the word S-I-N. That's quite interesting. But the oldest one is related to the moon goddess, quite timely, Sin, who was acknowledged or worshipped or whatever, revered by the ancient Sumerians, the ancient Arabs, and one more, the ancient peoples. So like a huge expanse of land. So a huge part of the known world, and of course that's where Christianity sort of derives from. So I thought, gosh, this is quite exceptional piece of information. And it's related to, of course, Mount Sinai. And so that's the oldest reference I could find. I thought, oh my gosh, this is an amazing bit of information. Because then I thought, well then, because then I go back and I think, well, okay, well then, the next reference to it, then if we go to the next reference, and we think, okay, well then, when things like this idea of original sin. Now it's difficult. It's very difficult because we're reading a translation of a translation of a translation of a translation of all these things. But it's like this thing of original sin then, to the people who thought of it years and years and years ago, they would have understood it within the context of this goddess, right? So that totally changes things for me. Because I go, well then, what actually is that Garden of Eden story about, actually? Because it's got to be about something else than what we think it's about. And I always struggled with that. Anyway, and I'm going to get into, if anybody watches this, theologians are going to go, ah, and the church or whatever, are people who do believe in that in and of itself, which is fine, you know, in terms of, I'm just saying my path of discovery and going, well, what is that actually about? Because the thing is that this word single, which has become, is so much a part of our society, like, you know, all of a sudden it has this whole other resonance. Because then, of course, you have words like sing, which isn't, or maybe it is related to that as well. You know, and there are all these other words that have the word S-I-N in the beginning. So I thought, there is something in that. And I thought this whole thing about, you know, then if you look at it in the more recent kind of Latin and Greek and even Spanish and stuff like that, sin means without, right? It's come to mean without as opposed to with. You know, partner means with, connected. Sin means without, disconnected, right? But in actual fact, it doesn't appear to be so. And then I think, well, maybe my like etymological little thing going on here. Oh, it was great this morning, actually. It is a bit slippy, yeah. Enjoy your day. One of my regulars. I hope this isn't freezing, but let's see. We're still going? Oh, we're still going. Okay. So then, if you think about it, okay, where was I with etymology? All right, so without. And I think, gosh, you know, that's, but it's quite, it's quite schizophrenic though, because then in our society, we're especially now taught, think about number one, think about yourself. And although that's shifting, a lot of people are starting to say that, but you look at like all of our economic conversations and stuff like this are all about the bottom line, and it's about the singular factor, Okay, it did freeze. Alright, so what this means is that we're quite schizophrenic. Because on the one hand, we're taught like to think of number one, and although the sea of that is changing, there still is like economics are about the bottom line, and it's about the singular factor. So one thing. But then on the other hand, we're taught that being single is a sin. Like in terms of, and it's a negative thing. And you think, well, gosh, no wonder the world is so confused, right? It's not that, I think it's the thinking of it needs to change. Because I think if I can crack this, I don't know, I just think that there's something in that. I think there's something in that, and this thing that goes back, and so much of our thinking derives from like all these years ago. And our words are kind of little gateways to understanding that. To a certain extent. So there's so much there. So anyway, so today I did dance for my neighbor, and it was great, sending him lots of positive energy, because I don't want anyone to feel bad. But the thing is, if you think about the oldest meaning of the word sin, it's connected to something that is not wrong. It's the moon energy, which is so typical. It's quite interesting today. We've got this like massive fog, and that you can't see beyond, because that's the whole thing. Like in the tarot, the moon card is about intuition, and it's about having to use your instincts and not knowing in a concrete level, but knowing on a deeper level. Like when you just have a really strong intuition about something, and so it's. I think it can be quite empowering to kind of root back into that instead. Anyway, that was my thinking for today. Quite exciting. It was great. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't think of this before. So I don't know what I'll come up with tomorrow. Hey ho. Great dancing. I'll be back here tomorrow. If you want to come have a boogie, please do. If you have any wishes you want me to dance for, we probably have some link to etymology because it seems to be on my train at the minute. That would be great. Have a good day. Bye.